What's up everyone, welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over Google Display Network targeting. So when you're running your display advertising campaigns, if you look right here under campaign type, you can see search and display. So when you do run display advertising campaigns, there's a lot of different audiences you can target. You can target content, so when people are browsing the internet. So I'm going to go through all of that today and then give you some of my recommendations as well, just based on things that I've seen in the past. I'm going to get started here by opening this display campaign, and you're going to see here I have an ad group for a custom intent audience. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click to create a new ad group. Now the other thing I'm going to do is open in a new tab. So under tools and settings here, under your shared library, I'm going to be opening Audience Manager. So when you open Audience Manager, it's going to look like this, and yours might look a little bit different than mine, but essentially what you have at the top here are remarketing and then custom audiences. On the left-hand side, you have audience lists, audience insights, and audience sources. So when you're creating remarketing audiences, you want to start here in audience sources, because these are all the different audiences that you can use. So some of the different sources that you can use to create your remarketing audiences. So you can use Google Analytics and connect your account to your Google Ads account. There's the Google Ads tag, App Analytics, YouTube, Google Play, and the Ads Data Hub. So you can use all of these different sources to create audience lists that you can use for your display advertising campaigns. Generally, these are going to perform the best on the Google Display Network because these are people that have already interacted with your business. They may have watched your videos, they may have used your app. So all these different things, when people have interacted with your business, they've not only shown interest in your products or your services, but they also have some familiarity with your brand. So if we come over here to audience lists, when you're in the remarketing portion, you're going to see your audience lists here at the top. So these are some of the different remarketing lists I've created for my website, farmhousegoals.com. And you can see over on the right-hand side, size for search, display, YouTube, Gmail campaign. So just looking here at display, you can see the size of some of my audiences here that I can use on the Google Display Network. Now, if I keep scrolling down, you're going to see here similar audiences. So these are automatically created when you start creating some of your different website visitor audiences. And you can see over here on the display network, I can target a similar to my converted audience. So I have an audience imported from Google Analytics, anybody who's converted on my website. And then I have a similar audience here, 100K to 300K. So that's the total number of people that are in this audience right now that I can target on the Google Display Network. And they're all similar to people that have already converted on my website. So it should be a really targeted audience. Now, the other thing I'm going to look at is up here at the top, you're going to see custom audiences. So if you click on custom audiences, this is where you can create your own custom affinity and custom intent audiences, but you can also create them as you're creating your Google Display advertising campaigns. So with that, come into the Audience Manager to manage your remarketing audiences, connect audience sources, and to create some of these custom audiences as well. So we're going to come over here to the ad group. So as you set up a new ad group, you're going to see some of these different options that you can target. So at the top is people. So targeting people essentially means that no matter where these people go on the internet, you want to target them with your advertisements. It doesn't matter which websites they go to, which YouTube videos they're viewing. You want your advertisements to target these people. So you can choose from a variety of audiences. And to get started, what I want to do is go over all those different types of display audience targeting that you can use. So number 1, remarketing. Number 2, similar audiences. Number 3, in-market audiences. Number 4, custom intent. Number 5 is life events. Number 6 is affinity. Number 7 is custom affinity. Number 8 is detailed demographics. And number 9 is demographics. So if you're wondering when to use these different types of targeting options for your campaign goals, I would say if you're trying to drive conversions, focus on these 4 types of audiences at the very top. So remarketing, similar, in-market, and custom intent. So anybody who makes up these audiences are generally more likely to convert, with remarketing being the clear winner in all these different types of targeting that you can use. Now, if you're looking for awareness, reach, impressions, maybe you have a promotion, maybe you have a large budget for a client who's trying to get more people to learn about some type of national sale, you want to reach just a group of people. A lot of times, TV advertisers will use the Google Display Network to run some of these audiences alongside their TV commercials and alongside some of those different buys, because you're able to expand your reach and expand your overall awareness by driving more and more impressions to people. And these are some of the different ones that I would recommend using. So life events, affinity, custom affinity, detailed demographics, and demographics. So if we come back over here to Google Ads, so we have our new ad group that we're setting up. I just want to go over some of these different targeting options that you have. So first one, audiences. What I would recommend doing is just coming in here to browse And basically from the bottom to the top is how well they're going to perform. So anything at the bottom is going to perform the best. This next portion is going to be second best. Affinity and custom affinity will be essentially second worst, and then detailed demographics generally performs the worst. So that's how I look at this little browse portion here. So remarketing is going to be your best type of audience. And what you can do is you can come in here, go to website visitors, and I can say anybody who's been to my website in the last 540 days, I want to target with my advertisements. I can use my converted audience. I can use a specific segment like farmhouse sinks. People have shown interest in specific types of products. So that's going to perform the best because you're reaching people who have already shown some level of interest. Now, similar audiences, same thing. You would come in here. Rather than clicking on website visitors, you would come here to similar audiences, and you're going to see all these similar audiences here. So I could do similar to converted, and then I can target people with my Google display ads. Okay, now the other thing that you can do is if we come back here, you can come to the same portion, and what you want to do is come to combined lists, and you can actually combine some of your different lists here. So one example might be for Surfside PPC, I can combine people who have watched my YouTube videos and people who have visited my website. And I can send my message to them by just combining that list into one large list that I can target on the Google Display Network. So a couple different options you have as you are running your Google Display ads, especially for this bottom portion here, remarketing and similar audiences. Next is going to be what they are actively researching or planning. So you're reaching people in the process as they're planning something, as they're trying to purchase something. So essentially it's not people who have an interest in something, it's people who are actively looking for something. So if we click here, and I'll start with in-market audiences. So I like to use in-market because I can come here and let's just say I come to baby and children's products. We can click on this drop down. If you choose this, it's anybody looking for baby and children's products. But if I'm selling child car seats, I can click on child car seats and it's actually going to reach people. So you're going to see impressions 700 million. It's going to reach people who are actively in the market for child car seats, people who have visited websites, who have done Google searches related to child car seats. So all of these different in-market audiences, you can reach people as they're browsing for things in real time. So again, let's use Surfside PPC as an example. Maybe I come here to business services and I want to find people who are looking for advertising and marketing services. And I can even break it down further to people who are looking for SEO and search engine marketing services. So I can target people who are actively looking for a company to manage their advertisements, or people who have shown some level of interest in improving the marketing strategy for their own business. So I can reach people in this process. So in-market audiences I like to use because they're already pre-built. Google Ads keeps them populated at all times, so people will enter and exit these in-market audiences at all times. So if you just come in here to apparel and accessories, if I'm looking for activewear this month, I'll be put directly into this in-market audience, and if I stop looking for the next 2-3 months, I'll be taken out of it. So as you start to look for things, as you stop looking for things, Google Ads is constantly updating these audiences just based on people's browsing history, the websites they're visiting, and their Google searches. Next, let's look at custom intent audiences. So with custom intent, you can actually use keywords and URLs to create your own custom intent audience based on products and services people are actively researching. So if we click on new custom intent here, what we can do is we can name our audience. So let's just say I do farmhouse goals. It's going to say related keywords and URLs. So right here is where I would want to enter competitor brands, competitor websites, and then just some of my main keywords. So you can import your keywords from your Google search campaigns. So maybe what I want to do is just take, let's see some things that people search to find my website. So farmhouse decor, farmhouse sinks, and as you search these keywords, you're going to get more ideas for this audience. So we can come over here and just start adding all of these keywords. You do want to make sure that they're going to be as relevant as possible, but you can see I have all these keywords added and we'll continue to add more. So we'll do farmhouse furniture. And what I like to do is I'll enter a keyword and we'll come over here and see some of the ideas that they give me. And I'll also just take the keywords from my search campaign keyword list because that allows me to add hundreds of keywords at once. And it's going to find people who are actively searching these keywords. I can also enter related URLs. So we'll enter my own website and we can see over here, it's giving me more and more ideas. So we'll click on add all. So it's going to add all of these keyword ideas. So I would keep expanding this list to make sure this video doesn't take too long. I'm just going to leave it as this. I would enter more competitor URLs, more keywords over here to the side. If we click on audience size, so they're going to give us an audience estimate settings. The estimated size in terms of weekly impressions is 50 million to 100 million. They'll show the age, the average age here. So mainly it's going to be 55 to 65 plus. gender, it's going to be mainly female. Parental status, mainly parents, but you can see there's other things in there. So what I could do is combine my custom intent audience with some of these demographics as well. I'll go over that a little bit later in the video, but let's just say audience name, farmhouse goals, sample. We'll click on create, and now we have our farmhouse goals sample custom intent audience. We can use this and start targeting it immediately. And because a lot of times there's not going to be a specific in-market audience for what I'm trying to promote, using a custom intent is the best way to create your own in-market. So I can target this right now and we can just start and create our campaign. So that's in-market and that's custom intent. Next is life events. So we'll get rid of this audience for now. And next is going to be life events here. So some of the life events you can target: business creation, college graduation, job change, marriage, moving, purchasing a home, retirement. So a lot of reasons you can target people as they go through these life events. Retirement, maybe you're a retirement planner, so recently retired or retiring soon. And I can reach people based on this life event. And you can also incorporate demographics in here too. So for the most part, people who are retiring soon, I would say are probably 65 plus, probably 55 plus, but I could just say, let's go 45 and up. So we'll get rid of this unknown here and we'll say anybody 45 and up who is retiring soon, we can target them with our advertisements. Gives us 780 million impressions per week. So just some ideas that you can use as you're targeting, and life events can really be useful to reach people as they're going through specific things in their lifetime. Now the next one's affinity, custom affinity, and detailed demographics. So if we come in here to affinity and custom affinity, so affinity are essentially these broad categories where people would have some level of interest in these different categories. So let's just say I come in here to food and dining, we'll click on the drop down. So coffee shop regulars. So these are people that frequently visit coffee shops. So places like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, maybe they're local coffee shops. So Google Ads is able to use all the data they have about people to know these people are most likely to go to a coffee shop to purchase their coffee. They might purchase breakfast in the morning, and I can target them. Let's just say if I'm a local coffee shop, or if you're Dunkin' Donuts, you're a national brand and you're trying to promote whatever your newest weekly promo is, you want to run a Google display ad to people who are coffee shop regulars. This is the audience you would use. I would say that's the best way to look at affinity audiences, is really for larger brands. So a fast food restaurant might want to target fast food cravers. So if we look over here at cooking enthusiasts and we click on the drop down, so we'll get rid of some of these other ones. So cooking enthusiasts, you can see 30-minute chefs, aspiring chefs. So a couple different options here, and you can always go over a specific audience and it's going to show over here people who cook often and usually prefer quick and easy recipes. So 30-minute chefs, let's just say your Food Network, you can say watch, I think Rachel Wright has a 30-minute cooking show. So you can target people who have an interest in cooking quick meals for their family or for themselves at home, and you can target them with specific messaging that they're going to be the most interested in. So that's the way to look at affinity audiences. I would definitely look at these as more branding and awareness. So if you're trying to get the word out there about your business, you're trying to get more and more people interested in what you have to offer, and you have an additional budget where you can promote and spend some money on brand awareness, on reaching more people, on getting a lot of impressions across the Google Display Network without being 100% focused on driving leads and driving conversions and driving sales, then this is where affinity audiences can come in handy. Now, the other thing you can do here is custom affinity. So again, same thing, but you're going to be entering interest, URLs, places, or apps. It says to improve targeting quality and reach, enter at least 5 items for interest, URLs, places, or apps. So what I would recommend doing here, usually if I'm creating these, I'll enter interest and URLs. So let's just look at their examples here. I'm not going to create a custom affinity, but you can see avid marathon runners, triathlon athlete. If we click here on URL, marathonrookie.com, runnersworld.com. So entering just some interest URLs based on what you're trying to promote. If you have a marathon event in your city and you want to target people who have an interest in marathons, have an interest in running, then these are some of the different interests and URLs you can target. We can come down here to app and you can enter maybe some running apps. So there's a lot of different ways that you can target people using a custom affinity audience. Okay, next is going to be detailed demographics. So this one's pretty easy. Parental status. If you click on the drop down, it's going to say parents, and you can target parents of infants, parents of toddlers, parents of preschoolers, parents of grade schoolers. So you're able to break down your demographic targeting a little bit more. Marital status, single, in a relationship, married, education, current college students, highest level of educational attainment, and then homeownership status, homeowners, renters. So different reasons why you might want to target a detailed demographic. So what some people do is they'll target a detailed demographic here, a parental status, parents, and let's just say parents of infants, 0 to 1 years, and then they'll target websites. So they'll come down here to content targeting and target website placements and target some websites that parents who have a baby are most likely to visit. So just different baby type websites. So if we come over here to ideas, the other thing you're going to see is based on advertisers like you, and they're going to give me some ideas here. So you're going to see home decor, and this is going to be the in-market audience for home decor. Sometimes down here, you'll see automatically created custom intent audiences. It just depends on if you're running a lot of display campaigns and you're targeting a lot of audiences with your Google ads, you're going to see more of these automatically created custom intent here that are going to be relevant for your business. Now, if we come over to search here, I can also search something like farmhouse, and you can see what comes up. And here's where you see some of these auto-created custom intent audiences. So farmhouse decor. So if we just scroll over, you're going to see farmhouse decor, rustic farmhouse decor. So it's targeting a lot of these keywords. So I can target this, and we can look over and look at our impressions. 5.7 million weekly impressions. So this should be a really targeted audience that I can target my ads to and see if my messaging resonates with them. So that's audience targeting. If we come back over here, again, this is what I would recommend if you're trying to drive conversions, if you're trying to drive awareness, reach, and impressions. This is where I would start with targeting on the Google Display Network. I prefer to use audiences because I think it just helps you reach people regardless of the websites they visit, people who have an interest in what you're trying to sell. So next is going to be demographic targeting. Some of the different demographics you can target: gender, age, parental status, household income, and then the three I already went over, marital status, education, and homeownership status, are some of those detailed demographics. But if we're looking at demographic targeting, one thing you can do is use some of these targeted audiences and then incorporate these targeted demographics as well. So as you narrow demographics, you're going to see my impressions drop. So I'm at 5.7 million right now. Let's just say I only want to target parents. So now we're down to 5.1 million. And let's just say I only want to target females. So I'm only targeting female, 45 and up, parents, and I'm not incorporating household income yet. And my impressions have dropped from 5.7 million from when I first looked at this to 4.1 million. So you can improve your targeting a little bit by doing this. You can set some demographic targeting here. Pretty straightforward: gender, age, parental status, household income. And then the other thing up here for targeted audiences, when you come over to browse and you come back to detailed demographics, you can see some of these other options here as well. So that's another option when it comes to targeting. You can incorporate demographics with these audiences. So that's something that I'll do pretty often to make sure I'm reaching the best possible people with my advertisements. So coming over here, next is going to be content targeting. And this will be the last thing I really go through. So website placements, YouTube placements, app placements, topic targeting, and keyword contextual. Now, I rarely, if ever, use keyword contextual. I've used it in the past. I used it years ago, but it's just not something I use anymore. Topic targeting I'll use sometimes, so we'll start there with topic targeting. So if we set our audiences, you don't have to set audiences to use content. You can leave it wide open if you want to focus mainly on content targeting. But if we click here on the plus sign, you can see keywords. So choose terms related to your products or services to target relevant websites. So with this, what you would do is click on the plus sign here. They're going to show at the bottom, try custom intent audiences instead, a new version of audience keywords. So that's probably what you should do rather than using keyword contextual. But what I would do is I would just enter keywords here like farmhouse decor. And what Google is going to try to do is find websites that are relevant to farmhouse decor. Now, it's not always going to be as targeted as you think. So you would think every single website you run on is going to be just essentially whatever keywords you enter here, but it's always going to broaden a little bit and it'll expand to more websites that aren't exactly related to what you're trying to sell. So keywords I don't generally use. So if we click on content targeting here again, we'll go over topics. So topics are going to be broad as well, but what you can do is let's search here farmhouse. We'll see what examples it gives me. Okay, so you're going to see visual art and design, architecture, keep scrolling down, see some things related to farms, keep coming down. So really nothing too good here for me to target in terms of topics, but you can just see some of the ideas here. We'll get rid of farmhouse, and let's just say, for example, I want to target websites related to food and drink. So we'll go with that example again. We'll come here to beverages and coffee and tea. So if we're targeting topics related to coffee and tea, you're going to see our impressions, 9K impressions. So this also incorporates our targeted audience up here. So it's really narrowed down our targeting a lot. So I wouldn't recommend using this targeting, but with topics, what you can do is you can set specific topics where you want your ads to run. So if you're a website, a restaurant offering delivery in a large area, maybe you want to use food and drink to make sure you're only on websites related to food and drink. If you're an investing company, you want to reach people as they're browsing specific finance websites, you can go to finance, you can come down here to investing, and you can even target topics related to some of these really specific types of investing. So with topic targeting, you're choosing topics to target many web pages, apps, and videos about a certain subject. So we'll click on done for now. We're not going to target any topics. And the last thing will be placements. So placements can be pretty broad, but if we look here, it's websites, YouTube channels, specific YouTube videos, apps, and app categories. So we'll start here with app categories. Pretty straightforward. You're going to see Apple App Store and Google Play. If we click on the drop down, just different types of app categories you can target with your advertisements. So we'll come back. Next is YouTube videos. So if we look at YouTube videos, what you want to do is search up here at the top. So again, we'll just stick with my farmhouse example. And you're going to see some of these different videos here. So itty bitty farmhouse home, full 1906 farmhouse tour. So it's going to be a lot of farm homes, people doing walkthroughs in their house. So it could be a good place for me to run advertisements because I would assume that most people watching these videos are going to be looking for inspiration and ideas for their own home, for their own apartment or condo, whatever it is. People that are looking for some decorating ideas. So I could target some of these different videos. 10 farmhouse DIYs would be a perfect one. Fixer-upper star Joanna Gaines, so people who watch their show definitely have an interest in home decor and specifically farmhouse style. So those are some different options with placements for YouTube videos. So if we click on back here, once you enter a search up here, it's going to pull in websites, YouTube channels, YouTube videos, apps, and you can target all these different categories. So if we come in here to websites, you're going to see thefrugalfarmgirl.com, thistlewoodfarms.com, afarmgirldabbles.com, concepthome.com. So I can target all these different websites with my advertisements. So what I would recommend doing is if you are targeting placements, make sure you check out a lot of these websites before you actually target your ads to them. And what I would do is recommend using at least 50 websites. I usually build placement lists of 100 or more. So if you're building placement lists, make sure you're targeting a lot of websites. You can always start your campaign with, let's say, 50 placements and then add more and more as you go. So these are placements. You can also target YouTube channels. Same thing as videos, except you're targeting the entire channel. With these, I would recommend looking at these channels and looking at their most popular videos to make sure they are relevant. Sometimes you'll find some of these different channels, they have a ton of views on one video that's completely unrelated to the rest of their videos. So some different options when you're targeting placements. So we can click on done here. Now, a question I get often is, can you combine content, demographics, and audience targeting? And the answer is yes. So if we come back over here, the last example will be combine Google display targeting. So with placements, I can choose golf websites. I can choose an in-market audience, golf equipment. So people who are actively looking for golf equipment. And then demographics, I can choose male and female 35 plus. Google Ads is going to take all three of these different targeting options into consideration and essentially target this really relevant audience of people who are visiting specific websites that I set, who are in this in-market audience, and who are male and female 35 plus. So you can combine these different Google display targeting options. So as you set up your different audiences here, you can target an in-market audience, you can target the best demographics for people who are the most likely to convert on your website. And then you can also target a topic here. So maybe I just want to target the topic of golf, and it will just reach people as they browse golf websites. Or I can come in here and target specific placements, and you can also do both. I can target golf topics, and I can also target golf placements. So if you want to expand your reach a little bit, the one thing you can do is targeting expansion here. So what you can do is go with more reach. So it goes from 4.1 million to 16 million. I can turn it completely off, and now it's down to 3.7 million. When you're using targeting expansion, Google is going to look for high performing audiences similar to your target. So anybody who's not exactly in these different audiences, but share a lot of the same characteristics of people who are in those audiences, will start to see your advertisements as well. Again, pretty straightforward. If you want to keep things a little bit more narrow, turn it off. If you want more reach, then you want to turn it on. It's going to add more impressions than your current targeting settings. So this is Google Display Ads targeting, all the different options you have in terms of audiences, in terms of demographics, keywords, topics, placements. Again, what I would recommend is using some of these different options and audiences like in-market, like custom intent. I would definitely spend the majority of my budget on remarketing if I could. You can test similar audiences. So all these different options here, you can make sure you're reaching people who are going to have some level of interest in your business. Even if they don't purchase today, they can visit your website. Maybe they get added to a remarketing audience. The more they interact with your business, see your promotions, the more likely they are going to be to convert in the future. So this is Google Display Ads targeting, specifically on the Google Display Network. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching my video today, and make sure you subscribe to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel.